gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Tuesday, June 24th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. If you are subscribing, thank you. If you have not, shame on you. What are you doing? What are you waiting for? Get subscribed, like, all those kind of things that help as well. We also live on X right now. X has been very, very good to us. A lot of people watched yesterday's show. Yesterday's show was a lot of fun. So today's show equally as fun. So make sure you keep it locked right here. Also, if you don't want to look at my ugly face, I understand that. You can check us out on all the podcasting platforms as well. Podbean, Apple, Spotify, you name it. Off the Air with Matt Randazzo should be on those as well. So check us out on those platforms as well. It's a rainy, dreary, cloudy day in the Quad Cities after all the heat of late. It's a nice, comfortable morning. Hopefully you stay inside and check out the show as well. A big show coming up for you today. Really excited. In a matter of moments, we're going to chat with Illinois women's head basketball coach, Shauna Green. Of course, Shauna Green took over about 3 years ago, and it's been nothing but success for the Illinois basketball program, a program that hadn't had success in decades. So we're going to talk to her about that success, but also she's from right here in her own backyard, a Clinton grad, a former athlete at Clinton. So we'll talk to her about the Quad Cities as well. A lot to get to. Shauna Green coming up in just a matter of moments. After that, we're going to have a guest in studio. Somebody that I've known for my entire media career, Jerry Palmer, longtime videographer up for the University of Iowa. Got to experience and cover a lot of great events when it comes to Iowa athletics. Jerry's going to stop by. We'll pick his brain on that. Not a very big brain, but a brain nevertheless. We got Jerry Palmer coming up in just a little bit. So if you're an Iowa Hawkeye fan, you'll really enjoy some of the stories and some of the experiences that Jerry's gotten to take part of during his career as well. And also in hour number 2, we'll be joined by Brad Schultz. He's a University of Iowa student right now. He was the inaugural winner of the first winner of the inaugural Steve Betterson scholarship. So he is got a paid internship with the Bandits. So we'll talk to him about the Bandits and then also talk to him about the legacy that Steve Betterson left. Somebody I knew very well, somebody who covered sports here in the Quad Cities for nearly 40 years, passed away recently as well. So we'll get to that coming up in hour number 2. But before we start all that, I want to take a quick look at the headlines. Not a long look because we want to get to Shauna Green, but a quick look at the headlines. And we're going to start with, baseball. It's kind of focusing now on baseball. Basketball season's done for the NBA. NFL hasn't started yet, so we can kind of regroup and take a look at the at baseball. And it's a big series right now, starting yesterday at Busch Stadium. Cubs-Cards, one of the best rivalries in all of baseball. The Cardinals get a Lars Nootbaar home run here in the 4th. They go on to win this one 8-2. The start of a 4-game series at Busch Stadium. The Cubs have been really, really good. Cardinals just 3 games back. Brewers just 3 games back as well. So it should be a fun summer in the National League Central between the Cubs, Brewers, and the Cardinals. The NBA draft is coming up tomorrow. We're going to talk Illini basketball with Shauna Green in a second. Men's basketball-wise, you could see 2 Illinois standouts going in the first round, top 20, top 15, Will Riley and KJ, Kasper Yakachonis, both expected to go in the first round tomorrow. And then also Tyrese Halliburton having surgery on his torn Achilles. We wish him the best of luck. Of course, the Thunder winning the NBA Finals on Sunday evening. Tyrese Halliburton suffering a torn Achilles early in that game as well. So we got a lot to get to on today's show. Really excited about my first guest. I got to interview her when she came down for the Illini Caravan right when she took the job. And she took a job at the University of Illinois that wasn't sought after by any stretch of the imagination. And all Shauna Green has done is have success down in Champaign with the Fighting Illini. And we're joined now by a familiar face down in Champaign and, of course, here in the Quad Cities as well, especially up in Clinton. The Clinton native and Illinois women's basketball coach Shauna Green joining us. First and foremost, Coach, thank you for taking the time to chat with us today. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to talk. And, anytime I can get back in that area, I love to talk to people from there.
I want to start there because you got a lot to talk about. You guys are winning games and bringing in great recruiting classes, a lot of excitement. I think season tickets go on sale next week. We'll talk about that too. But I want to talk about this area because this is where you're from, the Clinton grad. I know you're proud of that. Kind of talk about that and how this area in Clinton kind of shaped you to coach and the person you are right now.
Yeah, I mean, we don't probably have enough time to talk about all of that, of what just, I think, being from, Iowa, being from that area, my upbringing, all the people I had in my life, obviously my parents, all the coaches I had, really has, again, made me who I am today. And I think you always just, I never forget where I've come from. And I still consider myself just, a girl from small town in Iowa that's just worked really, really hard and had some great opportunities and just always tried to make the most of it. I always believed if you do things the right way, you work really, really hard, you treat people well, more often than not, you're going to have success follow that. So just been really blessed.
I love the MAC conference. I love the rivalries in that conference, and I've covered it for 25 years. Going back, can you remember those battles? Obviously basketball, and I for some reason I think you played volleyball. Am I right?
Yeah, I played volleyball and basketball.
So can you remember those days and what stands out to you as a young Shauna Green? Not that you're old by any stretch, Coach, but a younger Shauna Green wearing a Clinton uniform and battling in the MAC each and every night.
It's funny because I've been able, the last couple of years, I've recruited, some people from that area and have gone back to some of those gyms. And I remember, it brings me right back. Obviously recruiting Divine for the last couple of years. She's going to LSU, but recruited her and I went to watch her at North Scott. Went back to watching, her at Davenport North. And it's amazing because I don't have a good memory, but I remember instantly like some of those battles. I'll never forget the story at North Scott. It was in the, to get to state, one of the regional games. And I don't know if this is good or bad to say how much I was hated, but they had signs of me. The student section had signs of like my face with like blood all over it. And like the AD, I remember like the AD or someone had to go tell them like, take those down. But I mean, that shows, I take that as a compliment, right? Like you gotta, that shows how intense those, and we beat them at their place, at the pit. So I remember all those battles, and volleyball too. There was such a great conference, for volleyball back then. Davenport West was really, really good. Davenport North was really good. It's fun. It's fun to remember them. And like I said, it was really cool to be able to recruit some of kids from that area and be able to talk to them, about the MAC and that I played in it. So great times, and it's still a great conference.
Coach, this area continues to produce Division I talent, and so often the guys' side got looked at with the Chase and Randalls and Joe Wieskamps and guys that had come out of this area, and the girls' side I think right now is as good as ever. You mentioned coming up here and recruiting Quad City area kids. Being the head basketball coach at the University of Illinois, does the Quad Cities grab your attention when it comes to the type of talent that we have in this area and that we have had in the area in recent years?
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if they continue to produce high level players, because it's an easy trip. I love going there. It's fun to talk to these recruits. You have something that you can connect over. So yeah, anytime there's a high level kid that we believe can come here and make an impact at Illinois, we're going to recruit them really, really hard. And there have been some of those kids, the last couple of years since we've been here at Illinois. Actually, there's a great, player in Clinton right now with, and obviously she's already committed somewhere else, but just it's great to see. I love it. I love to see that there's great high level basketball players that can go anywhere in the country. So it's great for Iowa. It's great for the Quad Cities. As long as they don't all go to Iowa, I'm good with it. So
That's absolutely the case. Shauna Green joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coach, I remember interviewing you, and you did a lot of interviews, but you're down here for the Illini Caravan, and you were just getting rolling. Hadn't even coached a game there, and it was this young, energetic coach coming in to a program that hadn't been to the NCAA tournament in 20 plus years, and you hit the ground running. I know it's not just you. You have a fantastic staff. The players have bought in. But if I would have told you 3 years later, you would have been to two NCAA tournaments, won a game, had the success. Obviously, that was the goal. But did you expect it or hope that it would come as fast as it has?
First off, I appreciate you calling me young. That was the best thing. That was the best thing I heard all day. But I guess how my mind works, I would have probably said you're crazy if we're going to go to the NCAA tournament in year one. I really probably would have said that. But I know also we came in, myself and my staff, we expect to win. Like that's the only thing that, is going through our mind. And we're building at that, instilling a culture of that. But knowing how the program, it really, I've said this, and I don't mean this in disrespect, and our AD has said this. Actually, we were in Chicago last week doing some stuff, and he said this. It was probably the worst P4 job that was, out there. I mean, that's where the program was, and just losing. And a lot of people said I was crazy for taking it, but I saw an opportunity. I saw, yes, a challenge, but I saw and knew we had the best AD in the country in Josh Whitman. I knew the resources he was going to put behind it. I knew the facility that I'm sitting in right now is one of the best, if not the best in the country. And I really believed in this area that we could go and recruit. There's really good players in this area. I know that because I've been in this area a long time and obviously grew up in this area. So we just had to get people to believe in the vision, because we didn't have the recent success, and you get a few people to believe, and they did, and it just is kind of crazy how it all worked out. But I also think it shows what happens. Anything can happen, and if you get the right people, and you do things the right way, you work at a high level, you can do some really special things together. So we've been able to do that in 3 years. But it's about sustained success. We're not where we want to get. We have a long ways to go, and it's harder to stay at the top, than to make that jump. So it's been a fun 3 years, and I'm really proud of where our program is. But by no means are we satisfied. We want to keep growing this thing.
Absolutely. And Coach, you look at it too. You mentioned, you almost took my next question, because Josh Whitman is success breeds success. And you look at what's going on in Champaign. You have a football program and a men's basketball program and baseball. Everybody's just doing, and it comes from that guy. I mean, talk about the culture down in Champaign right now. And I think that's something I'm assuming you probably saw from the outside looking in as intriguing to come to Champaign.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I would not be sitting here if number one was for Josh. I mean, he was relentless in his pursuit of recruiting me. And you cannot win at the highest level, at any level, but you can't be successful if you do not have the right people leading the way. And, our chancellor at the time, Chancellor Jones and Josh Whitman, just the best of the best. So I really knew we could do some special things with them. And again, now I get to share a facility with Brad Underwood, and he's just been from the start. Brad and Brett were just unbelievable. And you just don't have that everywhere. Like our hashtag here is family. It's not just a hashtag. You feel it. I mean, Brad and I talk pretty much every day. Just, talk to him this morning for 20 minutes. I mean, we're constantly, because we're in the same facility. I call it like this our house. And, it's a good bond between staffs, between players. And you're right, it's contagious. They're winning. So now in our building, we want to win. We're winning. We're constantly watching each other's practices, talking to each other about it. So we're learning for each other. We're supporting one another. Brad, anytime. He'll meet with any recruit we want, anytime he's here. How many head coaches and the Big Ten for football really give two craps about women's basketball? Let's just be honest, right? And will do whatever we need him to do. It's just special. It's unique. You don't get that family feel and culture at many schools. And it starts with Josh. It starts at the top.
I had a charity golf outing up here last weekend, and some of the Illinois football players came up, and you'd be surprised, and you won't be, you shouldn't be, how many people came to me and talked to me about Illinois women's basketball. There is an excitement. I love it because you're grabbing a microphone every now and then and talking to the crowd and all those kind of things. Talk about, you've built two things, because you got to build a program and a roster and those things, but you had to build that culture and that excitement, and it's getting there. Season tickets go on sale next week. How excited have you been to watch the seats fill up around you and see the environment that you've had down in Champaign? One that can continue to get better. I know you're excited to continue to grow on that.
Yeah, I mean, we've come so far. It's funny because those are things like when you're taking the job, I didn't even think to look. I was worried about so many other things. I didn't even look at what's attendance? I'm glad I didn't look because, KB, one of our players that was here before and then stayed on, she's like, Coach, our last year, she was saying this the first year, before you're here, there's 500 at the game. No one was there. And we just consistently kept building it. But I said from day one in my press conference, it's going to take everyone. It's going to take a village. It's going to take the community. Coming from Dayton, we had such a great support from our fans and the community, and we had great crowds. And that's why we were able to have success. So I'm again, super happy and really proud of how far we've come and broke a ton of season, records, attendance records, season ticket holder records, but we're still not there because we're everywhere in the Big Ten. You're going and there's 10,000, selling out places, Iowa's selling out. So we've come a long ways, but we still have another jump to go. But just this community has totally embraced us, but you have to develop that culture. And I want them to feel like they're a part of our family. I want them to feel like they're a part of us and they know our players. And I think we're getting there. And I said this to a group I talked to the other day. I'm the same way. I can't even tell you how many more people have come up to me and Coach, we never even paid attention to Illinois women's basketball. Now we're season ticket holders. And they actually know what's going on. They know what's happening in the program. So that's exciting and I love it. But we're just going to keep on trying to take it to a whole nother level.
I want to talk to you a little bit about basketball and the on the floor stuff. And you made the NCAA tournament again last year and you got that victory against Creighton. I know that some people, it's a win against Creighton, but it's important to have an NCAA, not just an appearance, but to have success in that tournament. What has that done for yourselves, for recruiting, which has already been really, really good? It's a great way to build off to the future, having those type of experiences and that victory, isn't it?
No doubt about it. I mean, winning is what it's about, right? So yeah, we made it to the NCAA tournament this year in a year that was filled with absolute adversity and things just continue to throw at us. When you lose an All-American, your starting point guard, you lose our, Gretchen Doland injury. We lost our big that we thought was going to come in and help to an ACL before the season. I mean, I can go down the line. We ended up with really about 6 healthy bodies of kids that played in the NCAA tournament. And the toughness they showed, the togetherness they showed, how they just continue to fight and have positive responses in adverse situations. That's what I was most proud of, because that means some of the lessons and all the things that we were instilling from day one when that group got here, they listened and they were applying it. But being able to get to that NCAA tournament, we said from the beginning, our goal, like, we're here, we want to win a game. That's that next step, and to be able to beat Creighton, who Creighton, for people that aren't familiar in women's basketball, is a really, really great team that's been, a consistent top 25 team. And he does a great job. They're a really hard system to guard. So I didn't love the draw when it came up. I'm like, I don't want to have to guard this action. So proud of our guys for rising to the occasion and getting that win. First win in the NCAA tournament in 25 years. So that's a big step in our progression. And now we want to try to make that next step. And that next step would be getting to that second round, getting to a Sweet 16. That's that next step in our program.
Coach, you look at the roster and you lose some special players and four starters and those kind of things, but you return some talent. And then there's the transfers, and then there's one of the best recruiting classes, I think, in Illinois history. I know you don't get into the numbers of everything, but dorks like me, 8th in the nation and all those kind of things. How do you reload? Because it is different in this world of college basketball. Maybe 10 years ago we talk and it's recruit, develop, but there's different venues to restack a roster. What's your philosophy on how you go about reloading, I guess?
Yeah, in a normal year, we want to have a good mix. We don't want to have to go heavy portal every year. We want to retain and develop, and we've been able to do that. I know times are changing. We've dealt with NIL the last couple of years, but I think as we go into rev share, hopefully we'll see. We don't know how it's going to look, but we've done a really good job, even over time at Dayton and here, of retaining players. Just like that core group, that core group from day one, they stayed together, and they could have went other places. They could have went other places to make more money. But that, again, was why this year was so special, because they said, you know what, we believe in here. We believe in the vision. We believe in the people. And they had pride that they wanted to do it at Illinois. So to keep that group and then to have them reach the success and do some of the first, in 20 some years in this program, is just so special for them. So we want to retain, and you retain, I believe, through culture, through relationships, through, just having a really healthy environment where people can thrive in. This year's a little bit different. We lost because of COVID years and our kids stayed. Ended up having 5 seniors. You never usually want that, to have 5 seniors, because now you have to totally go get a whole new crew, essentially. But we went heavy after high-level high school kids, and that was why we were 8th in the country in our high school recruiting class. We got some really talented players that I think are going to do unbelievable things, but they're still young. They're still freshmen. I love our 2 transfers that we got, Aaliyah Guyton from Iowa. Obviously, we had recruited her the first time around, and it came down to us in Iowa. And then Maddie Weber from Villanova. I love all the things that she brings. She's playing so well right now, even the first week. So I think we have a good mix, but we're probably going to be one of the youngest teams in the country, and as opposed to last year, one of the oldest teams in the country. So as you know, with that goes some of this, but we'll get there. There'll be some bumps in the road, but could not be more excited about the group we have.
You mentioned Aaliyah Guyton. I wanted to talk to you about her because I'm sitting here right in the Quad Cities. You know what it's like. I got Iowa fans over here, Illinois fans over here. I remember when she committed to Iowa, Jim Madsen down in Peoria texted me, and I had seen her play in high school, and he's like, Iowa is getting is a really talented basketball player. To get someone like that, and you mentioned to have some experience, obviously coming back from the knee injury, but to be with a young roster, that's got to help to have someone like her. And I'm sure you're thrilled to have her in orange and blue next year.
Yeah, a lot better than that black and gold. So I can say that because I'm from Iowa. So it's fun to make, the Iowa jokes now. And I grew up a Hawkeye fan, and my husband's a Hawkeye fan. So, it's just, we're so excited to have her. I understood, some of the reasons why she decided to go there in the first place. And, I said, I don't know if this makes me a bad recruiter or a good recruiter, but we have a really high success rate on getting kids the second time around after they tell us no the first time. But just that 1 year at Iowa, in Iowa, like Lisa, what she did, and Jan, obviously it's a great program and it's a winning program. So to have her in that and understand what it takes to win at a high level day in and day out, what it's like to go through a Big Ten, conference season. That experience is just so important. And she's already she's still not 100% right now, because we had to do, she had to do a little thing, just get her good to go with the knee. But man, what her leadership ability and what she's bringing to practice and how she's, just talking and what she's going to bring defensively, what she's going to bring offensively to us. She fits what we do perfectly. I believe that when she was in high school, and obviously I still believe that now. So we could not be more excited to have her and her experience and her leadership and just her will. She wants to be great, and that's a special thing to have in a young player.
Coach, I got a couple more for you. I could do this all day, so I don't want to take all your time. I know you're a busy person, but you look at injuries and Guyton coming off and injuries were so rough last year. How healthy are you guys right now? Obviously, and size wise too. You have some players on your roster that when you look at 6'7", they can really make a difference in women's basketball. Where are you health wise? And then obviously size is something you can't teach, and something that you're smiling about. You can't teach 6'7".
No, and this is the biggest team we've had in our time here. This is the longest team we've had in our time here. And we'll see how that translates, because I'm not complaining, because we had KB and as our 5 player for 3 years, average a double, was a leading rebounder in the Big Ten at 6'1". So sometimes it's, size doesn't matter, but then sometimes 6'7" in there, when you have Letty down the post and able to be that presence and block shots is really, really important. And that was a goal in our recruiting, to get bigger, to get longer, even in our wing position. So really excited about that. But yeah, you're right. We got to stay healthy. We got to get healthy. Right now, everyone, we do have some people working their way back from some of these injuries. So my number, when I had to kind of change up our summer approach, our number one goal is to everyone be 100% healthy going into the fall. We still need to, it's about learning the system, fundamentals, getting our young kids to understand this summer about how to work and develop winning habits, and how, when we talk about one way in our program, getting them to understand what that looks like, of how to work consistently every day, 1 rep at a time, in the weight room, on the floor, in the classroom. So those are kind of our approach for the summer, because if we're not healthy, nothing matters. So, and we're getting there, and I really feel really good about where our kids are at. But man, that last year, that was I've never dealt with anything like that before in my career, of the injuries that kept coming and coming. So hopefully that's in the past, and now good health is in the future.
You're due for good luck, Coach. Before I let you go, you've played basketball, you coach basketball. I've always said, and I love where women's basketball is going, and the attention that's been brought to it, especially of late. But I always tell people, and I mean this from covering it for 25 years, it's always been really good. It's just now it's got the attention that maybe it deserves. As someone who played basketball, as someone who coaches at an extremely high level, where is this game at? And is there something to what I say when it's always been really good? I think obviously it's getting better and better, just like every sport. But it's great it's not just something that just snapped overnight. Women's basketball has been good for a long, long time.
I agree with you. I just think right now it's at an all-time high. The game has never been in a better place. And I really believe, I don't think it's going to go back. I really believe it's only going to go up from here. For whatever reasons, we have to, it's always been great. The college game has always been great. We've had mega stars, unbelievable, basketball players. For whatever reason, Caitlin Clark she transcended a lot of this. She really, I think, took the nation and kind of captured and helped in that. Now, it's not just her, but I think you got to give her credit for a lot of this rise, and just a generational player. And obviously you're familiar with that, you guys being right there and seeing what she did. So now the WNBA, college women's basketball, I mean, look at the ratings, look at the attendance. The Final Four for women's basketball the last 2 years have beat out the men. So it's exciting. It's so great for what a time to be a college, player right now. What a time to be in the league. It's so awesome to see and so deserving. Long overdue, but so deserving of all these guys that work so hard. So only up from here.
Absolutely. Coach Green, I've appreciated you doing this. I've enjoyed the heck out of it. Season tickets, I believe, go on sale next week. And there's a great fan base here in the Quad Cities. So people watching this, Coach Green's shaking her head. Come on down to Champaign. It's an easy drive, right? It's not that bad. And join them this winter. It should be a fun winter.
Yeah, anyone that hasn't been out to, State Farm Center, I just encourage you, come try it out. The product's fun. We like to get up and down and play a fun style of basketball and high-level players. So, yeah, if we can just continue to get more people here and continue to grow that, that's what it's all about. And I say it all the time, that's what you need to sustain a top 25 program. You need the support. You need butts in the seat in order to continue to recruit at a high level and to win at a high level. So would love to see everyone out there.
Absolutely. Now, we had Coach Beelum on recently, and he dropped an ILL when he went to leave, and I didn't respond. So and I got a lot of grief for it. So I'll give you an ILL.
I.
All right. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. That is Shauna Green, head coach down at Illinois. A fantastic chat with her. Tickets go on sale next week. Get down to Champaign and check out the Illini this winter. That's we got more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? That fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hey, Quad Cities, you looking for a night of action, unity, and appreciation? We've got something special for you. Saturday night, June 28th, join the Quad City Steamwheelers for Military Night as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. We're honoring our heroes, all active duty and former military. Get in free. It's football, community, and a chance to show gratitude. Bring your family and friends for a night to remember. Get your tickets now at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets. Let's stand together and cheer together.
The PGA Tour swings into the Quad Cities again this summer, and you don't want to miss it. The John Deere Classic brings golf, music, magic, and more to TPC Deer Run, July 2nd through the 6th. Wednesday, July 2nd is Youth Day, and ages 15 and under are free all week, making it perfect for the whole family. Stick around after the golf on the weekend for the concerts on the Course Series, featuring country superstar Dierks Bentley on Saturday and Grammy Award-winning Zach Brown Band on Sunday. Come for the golf, stay for the party. Visit JohnDeereClassic.com to get your tickets before they sell out.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities, a cloudy, rainy Tuesday, but a lot of good stuff to get to. We want to thank Shauna Green for joining us. That was a lot of fun. I felt bad because I felt like I took a little too much of her time, but I could have talked to her all afternoon when we recorded that yesterday. Very proud of Clinton, very proud of the Quad Cities, and doing amazing things at Illinois. So if you're just tuning in and you missed it, rewind. Go check out Shauna Green, a great conversation about what she's been able to do at the University of Illinois. So we focused a lot on Iowa yesterday, and so of course we had Shauna Green on today, but I want to get back to the Iowa stuff for a second, because it's not every day that I get joined in studio by this handsome young man right now. Did I wake you up?
Yes, you did wake me up.
This is Jerry Palmer. Jerry worked at the University of Iowa for 25 years.
Yes.
As a videographer covering you name it. Went to bowl games, not Final Fours. It would have been nice Final Fours, but NCAA.
That was one of my goals for sure.
Yeah, all those kind of things. So retired now. But kind of talk about like your first and foremost. Thanks for coming, and it's not that bad a drive.
I'm out here, and where you live, there's like hoot owls that are chasing chickens around right now. So
my kids heard you say that, and they've been laughing on the phone. They also heard you say something else, but that's okay. They hear anger all the time too. But yeah, like it's not that bad.
You know what? I'm from a farm town, yeah. and you know what? This is home to me out here. I would love living where you're at. It's a great spot. And also, I wanted to say, I brought you a gift. You're almost 6 months into this.
I am.
Right there.
Oh, look at that. That's the bear cage.
Yep. That's a nice photo. This was from the Temple game when we won in Barclays.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so that was a dunk for him.
Look at that.
And the great Brian Ray took that photo, I'm pretty sure. So anyway.
That's greatness on top of greatness right there.
I know.
So I don't know if you knew this, but we recently, it was on Tom's podcast, we drafted the Fran McCaffrey era, and I didn't get the bear cage. I was so pissed. I was so mad at Caker, because that's my guy.
I would think so.
Yeah. So you did it. You covered it and went to all these things for 25 years. First and foremost, what do you miss about it?
I miss being around the players and the coaches. Other than that, the grind at times. I mean, there's times where you're on I was with football, and it would be, once a week would be a game. Well, with basketball, there could be, 2-3 games in a week in a 6-day span. So it was, you might be on a road trip to Maryland, come home, 2 days later, you're going back to Ohio State.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, that kind of thing. So I don't miss that.
No, there was a grind to it. So Jerry was the big mean guy when I started. And you had to, I don't know if I ever told you this, but you're one of the people. I put Steve Rowe in that category as well. I would put John Campbell in that category as well, where they were very nice, but you almost had to prove you weren't an idiot to them, if that makes any sense. I mean, you know what I mean? There's a lot of young, and I get it, because I was then maybe an older guy watching younger kids come in. And once you prove that I kind of knew what I was doing, I don't know if you still think I know what I'm doing. Jerry was the best. Very helpful.
I don't know. I mean, I just know I would just not. I just sit in my corner and not talk. And I'm not a morning person, so being here at 10:30 in the morning, you are special. So, and those 11 o'clock kicks, I just sit and I was thinking about sleep, and so but I'm up till 2 in the morning, so that kind of thing. But you know what? And I've had like Taylor Brooks, she has made the comment to me, she was intimidated, but I would see that she was doing something for her class. And I'd say, Taylor, you can't do that. You need to do, you do it this way, or, and I'd help her. And there was a couple other people that you saw the potential. Yeah. You know what? John Campbell is my mentor.
Oh.
And John Campbell, did an internship at KCRG, right when I graduated from college. And John Campbell saw something. I don't know what he saw. I'm not quite sure. But he took me under his wing, and he'd say, okay, do this. And, learn from your game. If you mess up, learn why you messed up, and don't do it again.
Yeah.
It's just like, let's say there's a game-winning field goal. Where do you want to be on the game-winning field goal? Do you want to be under the post to show the ball going through, or do you want to be behind, because all kickers will run the opposite direction?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you have two cameras, it's easy. One camera is at one end, the other one's already at the other end. So, but that's
It's funny you say that, Jerry, because and I said that about you and about John, and Dan Birch is in that with one of my mentors. And I don't know if it's the case anymore these days, but I wanted that feedback. I wanted to be told, because then when I did something right and I got a compliment, it meant something. Yeah. And you mentioned what John Campbell kind of said. Dan Birch said to me one time, he goes, "It's okay just to say you effed up. It's okay just to say I effed up. And then just don't do it again. Now, if you continue to do it, then there's an issue and a worry. But it's okay sometimes just to say, I messed up. And that's the beauty part. And I think that's John Campbell in a nutshell. Yeah. Is he was the pro's pro. And he just outworked everybody. He still outworks everybody, Jerry.
Here's my greatest John Campbell story. He got up on a Saturday morning at 4 a.m., went duck hunting. This was in November. Went duck hunting. And then got in his car, drove to Ames, covered the Iowa State football game against whoever, and there was no 6 o'clock show that night. Drives back, because it didn't have really satellites at that time. He drives back to Cedar Rapids, puts together his 10 o'clock show that night. And I'm sitting there like, how do you do that? And I tell you, you watch some of his hunting and fishing stories, the photography is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favorite shots, I can still see it, is he was duck hunting, and he had this, black lab was looking, waiting for the duck to fall or whatever. And the black lab, you could see its breath. It was that cold that morning.
What a great visual.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty part. And the videography side of things so well. And angles and depth and all that kind of stuff. And I think it gets lost sometimes now because everything, and it's not, that is not bashing the people now, because there used to be a photographer with every reporter that was worried about. Nowadays it's, here's the camera, here's how to turn it on in white balance, and then go figure it out on your own. And people mentoring people, it just doesn't happen as much as it used to.
Well, they give you cameras, you don't have to white balance.
It's true.
It's idiot-proof. I mean, so today's cameras, the students have lost, the young people have lost, some of the artistic value. Yeah. Because we had to, if we didn't get it right, it wasn't good. Yeah. I mean, you couldn't use it. Now they say, that out of focus is
fix it.
But out of focus is artistic. No, it's not. It's terrible. I mean, Brian Ray can't shoot a photo and be out of focus.
Yeah,
because you have to throw that photo away.
I don't think Brian Ray knows how to shoot anything out of focus. I think he was born making things look the way it does.
And you should have Brian on your show, because Brian is a Davenport Central grad.
Why didn't I not know that? I did know that. I'm gonna have him on.
Yeah.
Why am I wasting my time with Jerry Palmer when I could have? Okay, so
a kid from Coon Rapids in Carroll County, but I do know some of the Quad City guys. Unfortunately, I know that football player from about 12 years ago that always tried to slap me in the rear. And
he's a strange fella, isn't he?
Oh, he's something else. That's all I can say.
We're obviously talking about Pat Anger.
Pat ruined more video shots for me than ever. I mean, actually, you know what? One other person that ruined a lot of shots for me, Brian Ferentz.
Really?
He knew that I wouldn't be able to use something if he did something, a certain gesture, or said something. And Pat must have caught on.
He knows. Same thing when the Brett Greenwood game where he led the team out in 2017. We were interviewing Pat afterwards, and he was starting to get emotional and get teared up.
Yeah.
And so he dropped an F-bomb so I wouldn't be able to use it probably. And my photographer, Anthony Panacucci, was awesome, and he just snuck it out. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
just like, he like covered it with video, and they got it work perfect and all that kind of stuff. No, he knows exactly what he's doing with
And
all
that's
these
the
kind
other
of things.
thing about today. Remember when we have to edit tape to tape? You remember those days?
Yeah, barely.
Well, now everything's on a computer, and I can change. That's why I don't trust anything today that I see, because I can change anything to make anybody say anything I want.
Yeah, I know it too.
So.
We'll do interviews and a young person will say like, oh, or anybody will be like, oh, that was awful. I'm like, no, you're fine. Are you sure? Yeah, like you'll sound like a genius at 10 o'clock because I'm going to take 3 of your 5-second bites and put them together, and you're going to sound like you talk for 15 seconds. It's going to sound great. You covered a lot of different events when it comes to Iowa. I want to focus on football. I guess in general, is there moments? Is there like bowl games? Is there football games, basketball games, NCAA tournaments? What pops out when you think of your favorite experiences covering Iowa athletics?
Well, obviously the Tate and Holloway. I would. The play went away from me. Where were you? Oh, you were behind it. The play went away from me. Well, I was on the opposite. I was in the end zone, the correct end zone, but it went on the opposite sideline.
Gotcha. I got wrong corner. It was coming towards you, but
I had probably 10 text messages because when you watch the video from TV, my big butt is in the way.
I did. Yeah.
And I got people texting me, get out of the way. I want to see, what's going on. You're covering it up. So that's one. Obviously, you talked about, Brett and Pat, coming out on the field. I think I probably had tears in my eyes when it was occurring.
We talked about it last week with Pat, but like we had a GoPro, and that was when GoPros were starting to become a thing. No. We had one on the goalpost, and then we had 3 people shooting. Myself, Anthony, probably just 2, but we had 3 cameras on it, and Pat mic'd up, and just the chills to have that guy do what he did.
Yeah, and then, you remember like plays that come at you.
Uh-huh.
I know Pat made the comment about Georgia Tech game, and the first touchdown was Marvin McNutt coming to me. And a funny story about that real quick, I have buddies back in Carroll County that every time I was seen on TV, they would have to do a shot of whiskey because Templeton Rye is from Carroll County, and so these guys are Templeton Rye guys.
It's a great.
So every time Iowa would score a touchdown, they'd do a shot of whiskey, and every time I was seen on TV, they'd do a shot of whiskey.
Oh wow!
And so that play, they had to do 2 shots because Marvin came at me, and I was right there, and could almost high-fived him. So
yeah.
And then another one was the Outback Bowl. I can't remember, probably the one we won in between the 2 losses, 2000. Because I want to say to Jeremiah Roberts, thank you for saving my life. Because at the beginning of the first half, or the second half, I'm sorry, we blocked the Florida punt. And the punter got up and was going to kick the ball out of the end zone. And that ball would have been coming right at me and right at and Jeremiah pushed him out of the way. And then Matt Malloy jumps on the ball for the touchdown.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I thank those 2 for saving my life.
Did you get hit? People ask me all the time. You never got hit covering Iowa football?
No.
Never covering college football. I've gotten hit in high school football.
Twice I've gotten hit in high school.
But we're more liberal with that. Like we know, and college football, you can stand in a certain area, 20 to the end zone, 20. Like high school games, you can get right out. You're not supposed to probably, but you get a little more liberal with it as well.
You're close. You get close. There's times that I've been very close. I can't remember. I remember the play. It was Michigan State. And it was Coach Fry. Oh, it was Demo Odoms in '96. My first year at Iowa.
Wow, that's
and we were down like 21-0 to Michigan State right in the first half. And Sherman threw a bomb to Demo, and Demo got it and was running down the sidelines. And I was on the sideline, and I couldn't see because of the bench. And all of a sudden, something told me you need to back up. And I backed up, and next thing I know, the guy pushed Demo out, and he wiped out right where I would have been.
Wow.
And so I was like, ooh, that was close.
Yeah, for me, it was never about us getting hurt. It was about the camera getting hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to get hurt or get hit, but, like, I was more worried about the the camera breaking and me not being able to do my job.
Yeah. I got wiped out by, I can't remember his first name, but McCormick was a kid from Mount Pleasant, and he actually had burns on his legs from an accident, and he was a senior in high school. So I was getting shots of him for John Campbell. This is when I was at Channel 9, and I was getting shots. We were going to do a feature on him, and this is in pregame, and somebody hit me full blast and just wiped me out. And I mean, I was in the wrong spot, you know, but I thought I was safe, and I got wiped out. I mean, I literally, you know, we did some repairs on my camera on the sidelines to get it back to working. So,
take me through. So we were talking last Friday with that big dumb animal we call Pat Anger, and he did his top 5.
Hey, you just insulted dumb and animals. So, okay, go on.
True. Well, I always introduce him, and I'm like, yeah, he must have been a defensive tackle, because that guy is not a linebacker anymore, if you know what I mean. But he ranked his top, I think I told him to before he started, his top games of the Kirk Ferentz era.
Okay.
And I'll go through them real fast. He had number 1, the 2009 Orange Bowl, because he's biased. 2 was the Tate to Holloway.
That's probably my number 1.
3 was 55-24 against Ohio State.
It's probably 2, yeah.
4 was the Brett Greenwood game we talked about. 5 was 0-2. Iowa won their first up in Minnesota. They won their first Big Ten title under Coach Ferentz. And then an honorable mention 6 was the Penn State game in 2009 down there in Happy Valley. I thought that 7 got 6 should be in there when Marvin McNutt scored the walk-off touchdown against Michigan State.
Michigan State, yeah, that's another one. I mean, to say top 5, I mean, you know,
so hard.
And it's hard, and everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you one.
Well, Jerry, I know you have your opinion.
You're gonna probably fall off that chair when I say this one. The 6-4 game at Penn State.
No,
but because it's not that the game itself, but it was everything surrounding that game.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Ferentz's dad passed away that week. Coach Ferentz was at the funeral that morning of the game. His family, you know, they're all out there. Ironically, you're going to laugh at this one, so we could talk about this a little bit too.
Yeah.
I didn't know, you know, 2-3 weeks in advance of that, you know, I asked if I could, you know, Mary Ferentz, her dad was a member at Oakmont Country Club.
Okay.
And so I said, is there any chance that I could go out and play golf with him? And she goes, I'll look into it. Well, she never called me. And then Tuesday night, she calls me and says, Jerry, we got it arranged for you to play golf at Oakmont on Friday morning. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And she goes, by the way, Kirk's dad passed away. And I didn't know that. You know, and he'd passed away Monday or something like that. So I went to the visitation Friday night, you know, and my 3 buddies that were with me, you know, I mean, they didn't know Coach at the time. And they were like, we can't be here. We can't be here. I mean, we don't know Coach, you know. And I said, look, you're representing all the fans of Iowa.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and so, I mean, we went and showed our respects. And you know, so then the next day, you know, you had the 6-4 game. And, you know, tears were flowing. And you know, so that's up there. I mean, for Pat's emotion with the Greenwood game, I would say the same kind of emotion occurred for that game.
And that's the thing is, we all joke about it, but there's a emotional Kirk, and you see it a lot now. And there probably was ones before that, but like that was the first time that I remember thinking to myself, wow, like, I mean, after the game they interviewed him and he was, and obviously, but like, I think that was, yeah, I mean, if you look at the game as a whole, there's probably not too much excitement to a 6-4 game.
Right.
But
there's a lot of great defense.
Yeah, and what it meant and what he went through and all those kind of things. You mentioned knowing the players and getting used to that, and I understand that. I get close to the Quad City guys that go up there. Besides Pat, are there favorites? Like, let's start with football. What are some guys that you just, you know, you got along with, if that makes any sense? You just struck up a good accord with.
I got along with everyone. I mean,
That's a lie. That's a lie. You're miserable. No, I'm just kidding.
I am miserable, but no. Well, you know what? I turn it on and off. When I'm around the players, everything's positive.
Yeah.
When I'm around you, everything's negative.
We took the bad end of that relationship.
You know, like, you know, Pat's team. You know, I mean, you know, there were a lot of great characters on that team. You know, George Kittle. Yeah, I mean, you know, George Kittle, you know, was suffocated for his, they wouldn't let him be his true self at Iowa. I mean, no, that's sort of, they didn't want you to stand out.
Yeah.
I mean,
in the media,
bring attention to yourself. But yeah, George, is hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to think, Brad Banks, one of the most infectious guys I've ever been around. I mean, when you were around Brad, he just made you feel good.
Yeah.
So Bruce Nelson, he's a quiet dude, I've gone up to Emmitsburg in Northwest Iowa a couple times, and I'm like, I'll just pull in and see what, and I was going through one a couple of years ago, and it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and they were out, having some football drills, so it's those kind of things, and it's also seeing how successful these guys have been after they've left college.
Yeah.
Ray Hamilton. I haven't talked to Ray Hamilton in how many years, but once in a while I think about, I wonder what he's doing these days.
Sure.
Or Steve Bigak. They're both Cleveland guys, but good guys. So
it's funny. A couple things with that. One, I'm worried you're going to pull a Bruce Nelson on me now that you know where I live, and I'm going to be outside cutting grass, and all of a sudden Jerry's going to be at my driveway. I'll be good with that.
Wait a minute. Don't you have gardeners that do that?
That's well done. You hang out with anger too much. No, I don't. I do have a ride a lawnmower, but I should have kids that do that, right?
How old are your kids?
Oh yeah, 15, 12, 10, 8. And here's the thing. It's the secret, Jerry, is like I want to go outside and cut grass because it's the escape. It's like I get to get away for 2 hours. I got a cup holder. I get myself a bush light. And it's beautiful. I'll show you out there. You just get away from like running kids around, doing things like you get away from the frustrations of life and just. Yeah, I tell you, last night
your stress level, I'm sure, is really up there.
It is. We had 16 baseball games 2 weekends ago. 16 between the 4 kids. That's dumb.
That is dumb.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the other thing with that is you mentioned George. I felt that way with, and maybe I'll ask you if you noticed it too. Pat was quiet as all quiet could be until his senior year, maybe halfway through his junior year. And he says, he's just like, I might as well have fun with this. But you could see that too with Pat and do you remember when he got in trouble on radio?
No, I don't remember.
I'm trying to remember the game, and he's probably sitting there yelling at me, or Caker's probably listening to this. I should know the game, but they won. It was on the road, and he came on the radio. And I think golf, I'm going to mess up the exact, I'm not going to quote it, but basically asked him, say, what's that locker room right now? And he goes, Gary, just a bunch of happy naked dudes hanging out and having a good time. Something like that.
Might have been the Claiborne game at Penn State.
That's probably what it was, because he had a million tackles that game too.
Yeah.
And that was the last time he was a guest on the radio afterwards. So,
but well, you're right though. Pat, I didn't know who Pat was until he was a junior. Yeah, and that's the way a lot of it is,
Well, he sucked until he was a junior.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's true. But the thing about it is, I mean, I guess I don't want to. I always like to, I want to include everybody. Say hello to whoever, and make them, feel like they're not off to the side. But you really don't know the guys until they're players, until they're starters.
Yeah.
Unless they excel on the special teams. Bob Sanders would be another one of those.
Yeah.
And Dallas too. Dallas Clark. I mean, those two, they started at special teams, and they got their niche, and they found that Dallas Clark was a linebacker, and he was so good on special teams that they're like, this guy's an athlete. We got to get him on the field somehow, and that's how he got to be a tight end.
It's crazy. Like you look at Pat said on the show recently. There was a game, probably his sophomore year, up at Wisconsin. And every linebacker was getting hurt. He's like, all right, I'm going to go in. I'm going to get my shot. And he still didn't go in. They put in some red shirt guys. And that's when he realized, what the heck's going on. And, he, rededicated and all that. It was really cool. But, it's funny he mentioned nowadays he would have hopped in a transfer portal.
Right.
And gone someplace else. And he's like, that's what they teach you there is, put football above everything else. And he's like, well, it was really important to me. It wasn't the top. I can't believe I'm quoting Pat Anger up here. So, anyways, before I let you go, you should just come be a co-host. You can do this every day.
Are you going to let me sleep in your house?
I mean, it's small, but we could probably find a little corner.
Well, I did see the guest quarters out back when I pulled up.
There's no such thing as guest quarters.
Yeah, folks, there are guest quarters out there.
You should see my garages. My garages are like completely a mess with stuff. Kirk Ferentz, you talked about him a little bit, and that's the cool thing for me is I haven't covered any other football coach. You were around for Hayden.
3 years.
But when I was getting rolling, what was Kirk started in '99?
Yes.
So I started in 2001. So like I tell people this all the time, and I mean it. Like he's a better person than he is a football coach.
Yeah.
Just your dealings with Kirk and how lucky you were to deal with and be part of a program that has that guy running it.
Yeah, I mean he looks out for his players. He cares about his players. You'll see him go up in practice to a player and maybe not ask him about anything football wise. Just say, how's your family doing? Back in whatever town, and he takes an interest. And so, and when you hear players talk about, like Pat would say, he'd take a bullet for Coach Ferentz, and that says a lot about Kirk's character towards his players. So
Pat says that just because he wants to die. Like he's trying to. No, I'm kidding.
He's something else. I'll just But
I'm waiting to. I look down to see if I should have brought him in, not in, because he won't. He got cranky about making the trip over here too, but
Well, like I said, I mean, this is out here in the middle of nowhere. But I get your little piece of heaven. So
it's literally not that far out. Like it's not. For me to get to WQAD in Moline, it was like 15 minutes.
Look,
to me to get to Pat's house, which is in Bettendorf, I'll put the address up on the bottom of the screen. No, it's
I
like
really
20
thought I saw a sign that said Missouri 12 miles. and then as I came at the top of one of the hills, I thought I heard banjos playing in the valley.
What are you saying about the nice people out here in Milan /
Oh,
Taylor
the people
Ridge?
out here are nice, but
they just like banjos.
Yeah,
they just play good banjo music. So, Jerry, this has been way too much fun. I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate the bear cage.
Oh yeah,
and you're right. Brian Ray would be a great get.
Oh,
that's something.
You know what, Brian, and then his assistant Stephen Malley. They both have been at the Gazette for many years, but they are two of the best photographers to capturing a moment you'll ever see. I mean, every photo you see, not every photo. I mean, there are some other people that contribute, but every football you see on the Hawkeye sites, the football sites, or men's basketball, or track, or
women's basketball with everything he did with Caitlin Clark and those young ladies.
Yeah, Brian traveled. Yeah, Brian went with Caitlin Clark to the draft. He went for the Wooden Award in L.A. I mean, Brian was everywhere, and there are so many amazing photos that nobody's ever seen.
Brian's one of those guys that calls me an Illini fan too.
You are.
I'm an unbiased member of the media. Now I'm not as unbiased anymore. Now
I was going to say.
Hey, I got both helmets.
I know. You know what? I mean, it's hard when the Illini have Brett Bielema, when the Illini has the
Shauna Green.
Yeah. It's hard to. I mean, 30 years ago, I did not like the Illini. I mean, and I have some hatred towards a lot of teams.
Rank your This will be fun. Give me your top 3 most hated teams.
3?
Okay, 5. If you want to do 5. 25. What do you?
I'm gonna go. You're gonna scratch your head at this, but Michigan State, Wisconsin, Iowa State, Minnesota, Illinois used to be in there, not so much.
So
Ohio State.
What's the hate? Well, you're just you're naming every team.
It's fans. It's. I mean, would you harass the camera guy on the sidelines? I mean, you don't need to do that. I have a job to do.
Yeah.
I mean, and I get harassed.
So what was the worst fan base?
I think Michigan State is. Well, actually.
Is that basketball more than football?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Wisconsin was. I mean, you walk by. There's frat houses right next to Camp Randall, and if you were wearing an Iowa shirt, they all start chanting "asshole, oh."
You can say it.
Okay. Well, I didn't know. I thought you had children that watch this once in a while, but Pat is a child. Okay. So they just chant asshole, asshole. And I have a friend that he was walking by and they go, "Why don't you come down here and say that?" So that they waited like 20 seconds. The guy comes down, because they're doing it on their balconies. He comes down, all of a sudden he looks up and he goes, "You guys are a lot bigger than I thought."
Yeah.
And they were, and he's like, "I'm sorry."
So
and Iowa State is Iowa State.
Would you say
it's the fans? I mean, all the people behind the scenes are good people.
Yeah.
I mean, all the coaches.
Every fan base. I'm not. But every fan base has idiot fans. That's why fans is short for fanatics. Yeah. So like that's their problem is that they get a little too drinky and they get a little. Beer muscles are a thing.
I know a lot of people hate Michigan. A lot of people.
Yeah.
And Michigan, I've never had an issue up there with their fan base. I've never
That's
had
one place I've never been. The Big House. I hear it's underwhelming.
It is. It's a low bowl.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is neat to walk through the tunnel and come out, onto the field at midfield. That is unique. But Michigan, I've never had an issue there. Ohio State, I lived out there, so there's for 18 months. I call it 17 months of my jail term. But I did have good experiences there. I mean, but it put things in my perspective in my life. So.
Kinnick is, and I mean, I've been to other places and I get it, but like Kinnick and Back in Black and that kind of thing, it's just different. It hits different at night. All those kind of things. Like I said, the Brett Greenwood game will be the game that I'll always remember. Is like I got my boys running around the house right now. They've never been to an Iowa football game.
Really?
Isn't that crazy? They've been to tons of basketball games. We go up to Detroit for Lions games, but when I go to a football game,
you're working.
I'm working, and so like I might sneak on next year. I might sneak them in next year and get them to a game or two. So.
Well, I do know someone that still has a couple of tickets in his retirement, but you might have to wear earmuffs because they're in row 5 on the 45-yard line, and right in front of you would be Phil Parker coaching the defensive backs in the defense.
That's it. There's nothing that they haven't heard. Trust me. I'll tell you that. Jerry, this has been a ton of fun. I appreciate you stopping by, and we'll catch up again. Well, next time we do this, we'll have Pat come on too.
Nah, we're good. We're good.
I love it. That is Jerry Palmer, longtime videographer at the University of Iowa. And a good dude. Don't let me. Hopefully he's not listening, but a pretty good dude as well. So we got more to get to here and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coming up after the break, we're going to be joined by Brad Schultz. He's the Steve Betterson Scholarship Award winner, covering the Bandits right now, doing great things at the University of Iowa as well. We'll chat with him coming up right after this on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities, a cloudy Tuesday. I'm over on the Illinois side. It is yet to rain here, but I have a feeling on the Iowa side it's kind of pouring rain. is what it looks like. But we've had a fun show so far. If you're just joining us, first and foremost, if you are, thank you for watching on YouTube, on X. X is always great to us. Shauna Green started off the show. Clinton native, Illinois women's head basketball coach. Great success at the University of Illinois. So if you missed that, go back and check that out. Also, Jerry Palmer still in studio. I don't know if he's ever going to leave my house. I told my kids don't feed him or he might stay. So he's still hanging out with us in studio. And then right now we're going to be joined by a young journalist here in the eastern part of the state of Iowa. Brad Schultz joins me right now. First off, you're down at Modern Woodman Park, Brad, aren't you?
I am, yes.
I love it. I want to have you on. I've been wanting to have you on, so thanks for doing this. You are the Steve Betterson Scholarship, Memorial Scholarship Award winner. Bats is somebody who was very important to media here in the Quad Cities myself. And I know you knew of Bats and his history as well. To be that scholarship award winner, what did it mean to get that award?
It means a lot, to be honest with you. First of all, working in professional sports is something that a lot of people want to do, but maybe don't get the chance to do. And to have that opportunity is incredible. But then to have Steve Batterson's name to it is also just incredible, because Steve, obviously, he was a great writer, but he was also just an amazing person. And to be successful in this business, you have to write good, obviously, but if you're not a good person, then you're not going to make it. And Steve was just a tremendous all-around person. And to be the inaugural winner of this award means everything.
Yeah, you nailed it. And Bats was one of those guys, 38 years, I think, covering Bandits baseball or whatever baseball that was at the ballpark here in the Quad Cities. And such a nice, gentle soul, always willing to help out, to chat, all those kind of things. 2,000 games he covered along the river for Quad Cities baseball. To know those kind of things, and then to get to do it this year, because that's the beauty part of the scholarship. It wasn't just, hey, here's some money, congratulations, here's a certificate, you're on your way. You get a paid internship with the Bandits this summer, so you've gotten to cover the Bandits all summer, to be able to be in that press box and do the things that Steve Batterson did such at a high level. What has that meant so far?
It's been really awesome. A lot of the stuff I do here for the Bandits is in-game production. So it's not necessarily print journalism, which is what I'm used to doing most of the time. So a lot of times I'll be doing replays for the live streams, running cameras, posting ads on the video board, and then, of course, writing post-game recaps and everything like that. So it's been really good to get hands-on experience and something that I've never really done before. So, yeah, and it's been really cool to experience baseball all summer.
Yeah, it's been a good season. The Bandits have been good. Now take off the worker hat and put on the media hat. What have you seen from the Bandits this year? Obviously, it's been a fun, successful summer down at Modern Woodman Park. What have you seen? What have you liked? What has this team been like so far this summer?
Yeah, you said it. It's been a really fun season. And obviously in high A, you're not going to see offense. Obviously, it's coming up and down all the time. But, yeah, this team just finds ways to win. They'll score about 4 runs a game maybe, but they'll try to get runners on and they'll manufacture runs. So it's an interesting style of baseball, maybe a little old school, but definitely fun to watch. And the thing I like about the team, too, is that all the guys are class act individuals, and that's always a cool thing to see, too. And it's just been a great summer.
Yeah, the players are great. The organization's great. Talk about David Heller a little bit and his people down with the Bandits. We had Dave on, I think, last week, which was a ton of fun. His second time he had been on the show. But, there's not too many more passionate people, I think, in this world than Dave Heller and baseball and the Quad Cities and all those kind of things. What has your experience has been like with Dave? And obviously, to be a young journalist and to get to work for a guy like that has to be an awesome experience at this age.
Absolutely, yeah. And Dave is the reason why Quad Cities has been as successful as it has. And just 5 minutes with him, you can tell that he cares about this place and it's his child basically. And, his leadership really filters down to the rest of the staff. Everybody in this organization is great to work with. And that's really the key to a successful team is you got to have good people in the front office. And this team does. And it's been awesome to work with him.
Yeah, he's a first-class guy, a first-class organization. Obviously, a senior, getting ready to start your senior year at the University of Iowa. What has that department been like, that school? I've obviously covering Iowa athletics. We've met a lot of great people that are doing what you do, that have gone on to do good things. Talk about what your experience at Iowa has been like. And I always say experience is the key. To be able to get to do as many things and just do it in the media. It's not about reading a book or anything like that. It's about getting out and being hands-on. And that's, I think, something you've gotten to do, Brad.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've been at the Daily Iowan since my sophomore year. So this will be my third season now. And I've covered just about every Hawkeye sport that we have. So obviously your major sports, but also field hockey, wrestling or women's wrestling, baseball, softball, really just anything we have. And it's great to not only experience the big sports because that's what's fun, right? But also the small sports have so many amazing athletes that have so many incredible stories to tell. And really, we're the only outlet to tell them. And it's just a privilege to be able to tell so many amazing stories like that. And yeah, it's been a heck of a ride, and I can't wait to get going again here in August.
Yeah, that's so well said, because some of those niche sports or some of the smaller sports don't get the love as the other ones do, and they're a lot of fun to cover as well. You do know that you're going to tell your grandkids someday that you started your journalism career by covering Caitlin Clark, right? That you realize that they don't come around very often. That's got to be cool to kind of kickstart what you get to do as a young person who loves sports and media and all that stuff. To have a Caitlin Clark team come through there, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, she's just incredible. I only covered a handful of games, but no matter the stake of the game, just having her in the game makes it must-see TV. And to sit in a press conference with her is something else, as you know.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because, and I'll be honest, Brad, we had a Hawkeye person that would go up and cover most of the so I would cherry pick here and there, and it was towards the end of her senior year, and I'm like, I've gone to press conferences, I've never covered Caitlin Clark. So I kind of big leagued everybody and got up to a lot of the games at the end just to make sure that I can say I didn't miss one of the greatest athletes in our generation when she was in her own backyard. Before I let you go, a couple things. One, you're an avid golfer is what I hear. How good of a golfer are you? And then obviously the John Deere Classic is next week. Do you have anybody that you like when it comes to the John Deere Classic?
I love to golf, but if I had more time, I'd be a little bit better, but I just golf for the fun of it.
Love it.
There's nothing better than being on a golf course. And yeah, as far as the Classic goes, I'm really not paying attention to a specific golfer, but yeah, it's really cool that event can be here in the Quad Cities each year.
No, it's awesome. It's a great time. If you can sneak away from the Bandits duties, sneak out there and check out a day of golf at the John Deere Classic. And then I hate to end on a disappointing note, but rumor has it you like the damn Bears. Brad, is this true? And why?
Fortunately, yeah.
Why?
I was always a Bears fan, so I was kind of just born into it. I regret it every day. This is our year, Matt. This is our year.
No, it's my Lions year. We've been waiting. It's my Lions year.
I don't hate the Lions at all. I know some Bears probably despise them, but it's hard not to hate the Lions.
We haven't been very threatening over your life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I always cheer for Detroit if they're in the playoffs. So.
Well, I love that. Brad, it's been great catching up with you. You're doing great work. I've heard amazing things on what you're doing down at the Bandits. Keep doing that. Everybody I talk to in the Iowa media can't say enough nice things about you. We'll catch up soon sometime and chat a little bit more, but I appreciate you being on the show today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right. That is Brad Schultz, the inaugural winner of the Steve Betterson Memorial Scholarship, working down at the Bandits this year and doing a great job. And yeah, Bat's one of the best of the best. There's something about being a gentle soul. That was Steve Betterson. Always willing to help, always there with a smile to say hi. 38 years covering baseball in the Quad Cities, 200 games, over 2,000 games, down along the river at Modern Woodman Park or John L. Dennell Stadium before then and all that kind of stuff. So we will wrap up today's show right after this. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hey, Quad Cities, you looking for a night of action, unity, and appreciation? We've got something special for you. Saturday night, June 28th, join the Quad City Steamwheelers for Military Night as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. We're honoring our heroes. All active duty and former military get in free. It's football, community, and a chance to show gratitude. Bring your family and friends for a night to remember. Get your tickets now at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets. Let's stand together and cheer together.
The PGA Tour swings into the Quad Cities again this summer, and you don't want to miss it. The John Deere Classic brings golf, music, magic, and more to TPC Deer Run July 2nd through the 6th. Wednesday, July 2nd is Youth Day, and ages 15 and under are free all week, making it perfect for the whole family. Stick around after the golf on the weekend for the concerts on the Course Series, featuring country superstar Dierks Bentley on Saturday and Grammy Award-winning Zac Brown Band on Sunday. Come for the golf, stay for the party. Visit JohnDeereClassic.com to get your tickets before they sell out.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. I'm behind coming in and out of breaks because I got some knucklehead named Jerry talking to me the whole time. But it's been a really fun show. A couple things before we will let you go. A couple more commitments to the John Deere Classic. It takes center stage next week. I'm excited about that. Tom Kim and Denny McCarthy are both officially in the field for the John Deere Classic. Tom Kim is a big deal. And Denny McCarthy, too, has always played well here at the John Deere Classic. I will never be surprised. I've told this to several people, including Andrew Lehman. I think Denny McCarthy is going to win the John Deere Classic one year. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but his game fits this place. His putter's really good. So two more really, really good golfers added to the field for the John Deere Classic coming up next week. Some programming notes for this week. We're going to have a show tomorrow, No show on Thursday or Friday. I got to go out of town to Indiana for my son's baseball tournament, so I'm going to be out of town. We got the brackets, and I thought it started on Friday. We got to be there on Thursday, so no show on Thursdays. We might effort to get Andrew Lehman on tomorrow. And then next week we'll do a lot with the John Deere Classic and all those kind of things as well. So programming notes for those kind of things as well. Tomorrow's also Steam Wheeler Wednesday, so we'll have the Wheelers on as well. Brian Stocking wants to come on the show. I think I'm going to have Brian out to the house. So we'll maybe he's watching this and finding out for the first time. I got to get a hold of him. So we'll have a fun show tomorrow. A fun show today. Thank you to Shauna Green for taking the time to join us. To give me a half hour of her time is awesome. And she hit everything you could possibly want to talk about. So that was a lot of fun. If you missed it, go check out the Shauna Green interview. Jerry Palmer was here talking Iowa athletics. He's still here. It's a weird, creepy hand that pops in. So that was a lot of fun as well. Jerry may be here tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe he may never leave. So, and then obviously Brad Schultz for joining us down at the Bandits, the inaugural winner of the Steve Betterson Memorial Scholarship. So a fun show today. If you missed yesterday's show, that was packed. We had Logan Leon, we had Cooper Koch on, and we had Tanner Lefevre talking about the Bo Bassett situation with Iowa wrestling, all that kind of stuff. So we appreciate those guys being on. Go check out those shows as well. We appreciate you guys for watching, and then I say each and every day, we appreciate our great sponsors here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Mobile Party Experience is also one as well. We got their promo ready to rock and roll. We'll debut that tomorrow too. So Mobile Party Experience, also a fantastic sponsor of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo as well. But without these people, these great companies, I wouldn't be able to do this goofy little show each and every day here in the Quad Cities. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo.